Welcome to the WealthGenius podcast, brought to you by the Expand Wealth Real Estate Fund. Expand your wealth by investing in apartment buildings. Go to expandwealthfund.com to book your info session. The WealthGenius podcast, strategies for multifamily real estate investing, mindset, community, success. The WealthGenius podcast with your host, the godfather of real estate, Alfonso, who has expansive experience in business and massive success as a real estate investor. The WealthGenius podcast. Let's dive into today's episode.
Woo! All right, we are back again.
Yes.
I just did your podcast yesterday.
You did. Yeah,
And
good to see you again. It's been a long time.
Yeah. Clearly, you got the memo for the Blue Jackets.
Yes, I did. I got it.
We just before we went on air, we were talking about how people's the podcasts and conversations, and I love your podcast. It's very conversational. And how many episodes have you done already?
You know what? I've done 299. 300 is coming up. So yeah, it's been a good run. I started in 2017, but you know what? Before the camera started rolling too, I was talking to the staff here, and I was saying the very first podcast I did when I was actually a guest, so before I even started my show, was one of the scariest things I've ever done in my whole entire life. So they gave me the questions. I can't remember how many questions, maybe 8 or 9 questions. You know what I did with them? I wrote them all out, all the answers. And this was during a time when they weren't in studios. It was over Skype. And so they asked, thank God, they asked me every single question. And every question, I read it out. That's how nervous I was. That's how nervous I was in the beginning. Wow. But what I've learned over the years now is that the fear is something that you've got to lean into. And so, thankfully, I leaned into that fear because that's your compass. That's your compass in life, and that's where your growth and your expansion starts.
Yes, sir. And so what made you? Because 2017, it was not the podcasting. I mean, it was around, but it was not the way it is today. I think the latest thing I saw is 6 million podcasts in the world right now, and growing. Yeah. So it's really something that's taken off. Yeah. I tend to be listening to more podcasts than anything else in watching TV or anything else. Yeah. But 2017 it wasn't like that. It was kind of this thing that some people did, and you watch it on YouTube or whatnot. Yeah. But like, what made you want to do it?
Good question. What made me want to do it was, I don't remember how I stumbled across it, but it was Joe Rogan, and it was only audio. And so I remember tuning into it in the car, and he was interviewing Dana White. And it was like a 3-hour podcast.
Oh, man. Joe Rogan changed the game.
Yeah, and I was like, who would... And I did. I listened to it for 3 hours. I'm like, why would anybody want to listen to a podcast for 3 hours? But I did. And so then that pulled me into that world because I could tell that it wasn't rehearsed. It was just a conversation.
That's what I love about it.
And the conversation was like, it just went into different areas. And I learned so much about Dana in that interview. I'm like, wow, you can only fake it for so long. And then after about an hour, you get to the real authentic person. I remember Joe saying that. And so I was like, I want to have conversations. I want to talk to people. I want to learn their success, but more importantly, the failures of what not to do. And that's what I learned from that podcast, and that's why I do it today.
What do you think made this like shift towards podcasts? And like, my observation is like Trump won because of the podcast game. Trump won on other podcasts, and he was able to tap into new audiences that mainstream media didn't have. Yep. And I feel the conservatives here lost because they didn't do. They didn't follow that same blueprint. Yep. Is it gonna be like? Is this like kind of where the entertainment is going?
I believe so, 1,000%. The reason why, here's why, is that you cannot hammer out complex problems and issues and political ideas in a soundbite in 3 minutes on CNN or 5 minutes on Fox. You need those type of complex conversations to be talked about over an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours to hear somebody's sincere points and to hear both sides of the story. and the agenda.
Did you watch the Trump one?
I did.
Yeah.
It was great. I watched him on Joe Rogan. I watched him on.
It humanized him, right?
It did.
Yeah.
Theo Vaughn. I watched all of them.
They
were great, and you learned more things about
like
him.
regardless of what side of the political.
100%.
I mean, it's not. We're not being political here.
Yep.
But the idea is that just pick it up and throw it against the wall.
That's the next podcast guest.
No, just don't even just unplug it. Yeah. They'll do the editing magic later.
Yeah.
But the idea that again, we're not getting political here, but the idea that a podcast that anybody can start. Like, think about the production value that you needed 20 years ago, and what you would need to do, and the broadcasting studio, and all these people that have to be ready for it, and you needed a lot of money to have your own show, and have your own voice, and now anybody can do this.
You can do this at the comfort of your own home with a webcam, and the webcam has a mic on it, and you're done, and you can talk to anybody. If you decide to. I mean, I've done one with Les Brown. I've done one with
that must have been wild.
Oh, it was.
What do you ask Les? What was the one answer that he gave you that was like really that you weren't expecting?
Geez, it was a while ago, but I think the one thing that I remember was really believing in yourself. And I think I talked about this yesterday when I picked him up and I was dropping him off at my partner's house, and I asked him, I said, I want to lean more into public speaking, but I don't know if I can do it, or like the fear of it, like how do I overcome it? And he goes, well, the one thing I've noticed, and I've been listening to you, as he was in the back seat, is that you don't really speak that well. And it was one of the craziest things. And then he's like, listen to the story that you're telling yourself. Mm-hmm. Change your story and believe in yourself.
Yeah.
And then just that just sparked something in me. To saying, if he is saying that, like he was joking around, obviously.
Yeah.
But it was just, it's the story that you tell yourself.
Yeah.
And to add to that, and let me share something with you, because I think this is really important, because I think you've touched on something here, which is we all have to go on what's called like a hero's journey, if you decide to, if this is something you want to do in your life. And step number one is we all live this ordinary life. And, you wake up, your life is on repeat, you check your phone, you go to work, you pay your bills, and you go to sleep. But then all of a sudden you get this call to action, which is kind of step number two. And that call to action is something where either now you're waking up to it, or maybe that you come to an expand event and you get this like call to action, like I should be doing something more in my life. And then number three is you go on this journey. And the journey is like, it's exciting, and you're ready to do it, but always fear kicks in. Something kicks in where maybe your family member or your friend says, you can't do this.
Yeah, or yourself.
You can't do this.
Like I've been sitting there, it's like, I can do that. And then I'm driving home, I can't do that.
I can't. Yeah, and it's fear. Fear always pulls you back. And the one thing that I realized that really helps people to be able to then really believe in themselves is getting a mentor. It's kind of like, I love this movie, The Matrix. Like, remember when Neo was on the roof?
Yeah.
And Morpheus says to him, he goes, get rid of all the doubts, the disbeliefs, and clear your mind. And that's what the mentor can do for you. And then he jumps. And then Neo's like, what? And then he decides to jump as well, too. But what happens to him?
Yeah, he falls.
He falls. He hits the ground. He bounces, and he bounces back up. And then he unplug him out of the machine. And he's like, he's got blood in his mouth. And he goes, I thought you said it wasn't real. And he goes, your mind makes it real. Your body cannot exist without your mind. And this is when now you have to now change your mindset. And that's what the mentor can help you do. And then you cross that threshold. And now you're like, okay, I'm starting to maybe now start to shed some of this disbelief. And then now, if you're my mentor, you can show me the code. I'm like, Alfonso, you're right. Look at all this money around. Oh my God, I can do joint ventures. I can do this. Because you need somebody to show you the path.
Yeah.
Right? And then you get into the transformation stage. This is where now you're able to now shed your old beliefs, the things that were holding you back. But you can now go back to the ordinary life, or you can actually now do the whole full transformation. And this is where now you get into that last step now, and that is you have the battle. And the battle is now to either you win or you lose.
So did you have your podcast already when you met Les about?
I did.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I had, and so the first couple of minutes in doing that podcast with Les, I was nervous. But then because I had done it for a while now, because I think by then I was maybe in it about 2.5, 3 years, that like anything else
that's
in
recent.
life.
So that was 2019.
2019.
Yeah.
And that was what kind of hooked me into being part of the brokerage, because my brokerage that I'm with now, they're like, we're bringing Les Brown down, and if you be a part of this brokerage, you can interview Les Brown. I'm like, all right, I'm in. That was one of the things. But but then all of a sudden, what happens is because you do something for so long, like 1,000 hours of doing something, the memory then kicked in of like, of course you know what you're doing. You've done this so many times. Just go with the flow of it. It's a conversation.
Yeah. No, that's incredible. How much of the podcast would you attribute to, where you are today?
A huge part, massive part, because what it does is it allows me to sit down with like yourself. I get to sit with you. I get to sit with people that have been incredibly successful. Some people who are just coming up, but I get to learn the stories of the success they've had, but more importantly, the failures that they've had, Alfonso, because that's where you learn. You learn from other people's failures, other people's mistakes, the things that maybe they were chasing, and then they realize, like, I was chasing this, but I lost what was the most important piece, which is sometimes your family, because you make the goals too big, or you forget why you're doing it. And that you have to create that balance. Yeah. And so learning that, I realized that, okay, I want to have big dreams and goals, but I can't forget why I'm doing what I'm doing, which is my family. One of the amazing things I just recently did about a month ago is I took my family down to go see Tony Robbins unleash the power within. And my wife and my two kids, and I'm like, he's 65 years old now, 66, somewhere around there. And I'm like, how much longer is he going to have the energy to be able to do what he's doing? And so I'd rather.
And there's no one to replace him.
No,
you can't.
You can't replace the Tony. There's only one Tony. There's only one Alfonso. There's only one Gary, right? And so, And I was like, I got to go see him. And man, what an incredible experience. You've seen.
Oh yeah, I've been there.
What an incredible 4 days. And one of the things too, what I loved about it, because my
UPW
wife is It's like, well, what's the agenda? What time does it start? What time does it finish? And as you know, there is no agenda.
It starts at 7:30, and then you're leaving there at 1
and
you just walked on.
Yeah,
you just walked on. Yeah, you just walked on fire.
All of a sudden, you're taking your shoes off and your socks, and you're walking across fire. Yeah, it's incredible.
What I love is the state that he puts you in.
Incredible.
And you're walking towards that fire, and it's like yes. Yes. And it's like, and it's the drums are beating, and you're like, man, I could go to war right now.
Yeah.
And it's so amazing. I feel humans are so interesting, and people are just so interesting. And what I love about doing this podcasting thing is that, like, you get to meet so many different people, and it takes all kinds to make a world, and all the events that you can go to. These are like really interesting things that we do. Think about it. Like, we go spend 4 days to walk on fire and be in this state. Like, that's like, there's like 12,000 people there, I'm sure.
Yeah.
In that stadium, and it's such an interesting thing that we do. Yeah. And you could think about 1,000 years ago, how you could get people in state and go to war. You know what I mean? And all these things they're so interesting. I think that you get a lot of. 300 episodes. You must have been talking to a lot of people and really interesting people. And I get a lot from my own life too. When I ask the questions or whatnot.
Yeah, but I want to touch on what you said about the state, because the state is one of the most important things that I got from Tony Robbins. So when I first
being
saw
in state.
Yeah, it was 2013, and I remember he had come down with a bunch of different other speakers, and he was only there. He only spoke for about 3 or 4 hours, but that changed my life.
Wow.
He gave me the belief to really grow Smart Home Choice, to be able to start a podcast, to be able to write a book.
Wow.
'Cause I'm an author as well too. And so just being in his presence, when he walked by me, I was like, I need to see this man again. I need to see this man again. And so just to state, you remember when he's like, you put just that little, just like Superman pose, and you put yourself in the state. But more importantly is that when you're in that state and now you're learning, you remember it more, because he talks about, 9/11. You don't remember 9/10. You don't remember 9/12, but you remember 9/11 because of the state that you were in.
Yeah.
And so you remember exactly where you were. So I remember where I was when I was with Tony Robbins, when 2012, 2013. Chris was with me, Quentin was with me, these are my partners. But I remember it very vividly because he put me in a state, just like UPW, like he put me in a state. So.
And how was that experience to go through with your family?
Incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible. And I'll share something with you, because my son, he was going through a few things, and you can tell by body language. Body language is about 58 to 60%. And when he went to the body language, because it's hard to change some people when they're in that state.
Yeah.
When he got off the plane, when we got back home, and he was walking with my daughter in front of me and my wife, and I looked at my wife and I go,
how old are the kids?
My son's 28, my daughter's 24 now.
Wow,
And
what
I
an
go,
incredible thing to
and I go, babes, look at his state. You can't fake that. That is legitimately real. He was transformed. You can see the way he was walking. And even now, we went out for dinner a couple weeks later, and he was just a different person.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. What an incredible thing to go through that experience with your family.
Yeah.
And obviously for the listeners, you got to check it out. Just don't tell them about the Charles Dickens. wait for them to experience that for themselves, you know. But that I love all of that. You know what? Every year I choose. My wife and I will say, okay, we'll do one big thing that we haven't done before. Yeah. So this year we went to the vault. We've gone the year before we were business mastery. Yep. We've done all all
the Tony Robbins.
Well, we haven't done. We did business mastery, and we did UPW.
Yep.
And we're gonna go to a date with destiny.
Yeah, right? I want to do that one.
And often people ask me, Alfonso, you built this massive portfolio, and you got all these companies or whatnot. Like, why do you need to get personal development? And I'm like, I need it more than anybody else, right? Because, if you're not expanding, you're contracting.
I agree.
And so I like to go to places. It doesn't matter what it is, but if they're positive and I can learn something, take a little nugget back, I'm willing to do it. I'm willing to invest the time. I still believe in coaching and mentoring. I'm still being mentored. I'm still being coached. The second you stop expanding, that's the moment you start contracting. It's like a plant. If it's not growing, it's dying.
I agree. And, and I think this is also important for anybody that's listening to. Always remember this as well, too. So every time I get called or asked to do something that is not in my comfort zone, like I get the email from your team, Gary, you want to come and speak and expand? You know what the first thing that always goes to my mind is no. Because that's the old thinking of why would they want to hear from me?
Yeah.
And then I'm like, of course. Then I'm like, yes, of course I'll be there. Now I'm like, okay, what am I going to talk about this time? Or what do I want to say? And so, fear is your compass. That is where you want to go. You want to lean into fear. Yeah. Because if you don't, then comfort is, it doesn't, you sit there and then you live this ordinary life of not being who your true authentic person can be. And then you rob the world. You rob the world of seeing who you could be. Yeah. Not just yourself, but the world.
Yeah. And the key to expansion is not the goal itself. So, the whole philosophy of expansion is to, double the goal. Just get out of your comfort zone and double it again, and just get really out there where you're really uncomfortable. But the whole point of it is to see the person you become.
Yeah.
Right. The point of it is not to get to the goals. If you get to the goals, it's fine, but it's mostly about stretching and growing and building and becoming, right? So the person that you become is more valuable than the actual goal.
Well, it's a great quote right there from Jim Rohn, right? Make the goal to become a millionaire, not for the money, but for the person you'll become to achieve it.
Yeah.
And it's the person, it's not the money.
Yeah.
The money, obviously, you get it along the way, but who you become. And then when you look back, you're like, wow, look at what I became. To be able to go through the hurdles, to walk across the fire pit, to be able to do that, to get to an incredible journey. So it's always a journey, not the destination.
Yeah. And I think we resonate, like me and you, because we come from the same school of Jim Rohn.
Yeah.
Listening to Jim Rohn for hours and hours. I got this CD. It was like 6 hours long. Jim Rohn, and it was in my car.
One, The Day That Changed Your Life?
Yeah.
Oh,
so
that
good.
was great. In the Four Seasons.
Yeah. Love it. And so I think there's a lot of, when we met, instantly, like we could, like I felt there was like a connection, right? And as you know, Jim Rohn was Tony's mentor as well.
Yeah.
And it's incredible. It's like I still listen to this stuff to this day.
So do I.
So I want to shift a little bit into the real estate side of things.
Sure.
And depending on where this episode's released, we're not sure in the timing, but I'm sure it will be sometime in either towards the end of 2025. What are you seeing out there? What's happening?
Yeah. So what I'm seeing out there right now, there's a couple different things. Number one is fear. A lot of people have pulled back. So I work with a lot of real estate investors. It's shifted. It's shifted now into the real estate agents that I have on my team, where some of them are still working with some real estate investors, but also doing residential stuff. So there's a lot of fear. Number two is you're also seeing foreclosures happening. I think a lot of people made some bad decisions, maybe got some bad guidance from people that were just from people that were that just started the game as well too. And when you're getting mentored, when you're getting coaching, you want somebody with wisdom, somebody who has failed, not just only success. Failure is important in your mentor as well too. So when I got mentored back in 2008, they were the ones who saw the mistakes and made mistakes in the late 80s, early 90s. So I learned from them of cash flow is important and don't worry about appreciation, just icing on the cake. And what else am I seeing out there? Opportunity. So with all that, just incredible opportunity. This reminds me of when I first got into it, where now you can pick and choose and put offers in. And with that, you don't find cash flow, you create cash flow. So go out there and create it. There's lots of opportunity. The problem is that people now, when they're putting those offers in, they're like, well, why does nobody else want it? They, a lot of times people want to compete with other people to then be able to get it.
It's a human trait.
Yeah. So that's what I'm seeing. So incredible opportunity, but people are scared to pull the trigger. Yeah. That's what I'm seeing out there.
And so moving into 2026,
yep.
Where do you see things going? What are the markets that you see that are coming up? What should we be looking out for? What should we be doing? How do we prepare ourselves?
Yeah, great. So the best way, I think, to be able to prepare yourself in this is to align yourself with people that are where you want to be, number one. Number two, one of the things that I love doing is property tours, because property tours, we do them every month. It allows you to go and take a look at what other investors are doing, to walk through their homes in the middle of a conversion, to see the contractors, to see the property managers, because I bring them out there. I bring everybody out there. I bring my finance guy out there as well too. And so they're all there. My core team is at every single property tour. And now you can mimic exactly what we're doing. And so I think that's important going into 2026. And I think also too, from a market standpoint, I think you're probably still going to see a downward pressure, which still opens up more opportunity. Even more opportunity, right? Because if you go back and take a look at history, does it repeat? Not always, but it rhymes. And so people forget this. We're 4 years into this downward cycle now, right? Because it started around March 2022.
2022, I think it was March. Fall. Was it?
It was when you started to raise the interest rate.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so March 2022. March 2026 is 4 years. So could it be another few more years, like late 80s, early 90s, maybe 7-8 years? Probably. But the bottom line is we're in the bottom part of that bowl. I don't know where, but it doesn't matter. You're in that bottom section.
You can't time
the
the bottom either.
You can't. All you got to do is, where will this market be 10 years from now? And that's what you want to focus on.
Yeah, and it's an important point. I always tell people, don't invest for what's happening today. Invest for where you want to be in 10 years.
Exactly.
And you cannot deny that real estate has made more millionaires than any other asset class in history. It's all everything. I mean, maybe the market is softening or whatnot. You can't deny inflation, and the best way to hedge against inflation is real estate. And you can't deny the power of real estate and how Canada's becoming a renter nation.
Right. And the other thing as well too, where I see people make mistakes, like looking at market data is good and important. But people sometimes get too dug into the data and like, from April to May, and they're looking at it and they're but hold on, it went down 2%, and so they get too involved in all of that. I'm not saying not to look at it, but don't make that your compass. Just take a look at the numbers and the cash flow, and can you convert it, or can you get into multifamily, and what can you do to improve that property and units so that you can create something that's going to make generational wealth. That's what you want to focus on.
Beautiful. And how do people work with you guys? Like what is it that you through your brokerage, or how do people work with you?
So I've like I said before, I got the brokerage. I've also got the real estate education company, which is Smart Home Choice, but they can find me. Just Google my name, Gary Hibbert, on Instagram, on Facebook, on LinkedIn. I'm very, very easy to find. Just do a search.
And I know you're going to leave us with something very inspirational. What is a quote? What is your favorite quote, actually?
Well, I said one earlier. I got a lot of favorite quotes, but this is a good one.
And you can give me two.
Don't wish it were easier. Wish you were better.
Love it.
Yeah, and don't ask for less problems. Ask for more skills.
Yeah, and that's I think this is where we are in the market, right? Because people feel pressure, and they're like, I wish I didn't have this pressure. But that's how you make diamonds, baby.
Yeah.
Yep. So it's like that pressure is going to help you level up your skills. You got to rise up to the occasion, and you got to get better. You got to go learn something new, and that's how you grow, right? And so you want to welcome a lot of the pressure that a lot of people are feeling right now, and don't wish it was easier.
Yeah.
Wish you were better.
Take action.
Yeah.
Right? Money follows speed, right? Yeah. Ready, fire, aim.
Let's go.
Ready, fire, aim. You aim after, just fire, and then you can readjust later on.
Yeah, love it so much, Gary. Thank you for coming by.
You're welcome.
Guys, that's the show. Alfonso loves you, and we're gonna see you all at the top.
Awesome.
Let's go. We want to expand to multiple different cities, and we're really excited about our next expand number 9. We want to bring it back to where it all started. So expand number 9 is going to happen in Ottawa, Ontario. For the very first time, expand will come to Ottawa, where it all took place, where it all started. So that's May 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, the first weekend of May in Ottawa, Ontario. We're gonna turn it up. We're gonna turn it up in the nation's capital. Let's go.